واجعله دأبا مسكن التعلم وموضع الفكرة والتفهم ومسكن الإرشاد والتعليم ومسكن التصويب والتفهيم.
Okay, again, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Welcome to Touba, the holy city of Touba, and welcome to DAARAY KAMIL. To present the agenda of today's agenda. We're going to start with the presentation of the delegation. Mr. Njai is going to tell us about the delegation, where you're from and what you do. And afterwards, we'll give the floor to Mr. Mahmoud Jabai, who is our tour guide, who is going to give a brief presentation of the library. Maybe if you have questions after, you can go straight and ask questions. After his presentation, we're going to now pass on to the lecture by Mr. Mamadou Pouy, who in fact is one of the founders of the let's say association of Murid students. It used to be called Association of Murid Students at the University of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, which is now called here. Maybe he's going to give a brief presentation of here before he tackles the very part of the lecture. So at the end of his presentation, we are going to give the floor to you guys for questions. If you have questions regarding the topic, of today's lecture is business culture in Muridia, right? So after this question and answer section, we are going to give the floor to Mr. Usainu Jatara and again to Mr. Njai for the closing remark. Thank you very much for your attention.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you, Serigne Seydou. We are very pleased and honored to be here. As I said, this for me is not just me being here as a faculty leader for this program, but also I am here as a disciple of Muridia. And I would like to thank Seydou and Malik for the efforts they have deployed to make this possible. To thank Serigne Mamadou Pouy, with whom we went to college together at the University of Cheikh Anta Diop. And it's always a great pleasure to see him as dedicated as ever to this. When we designed this program, when we designed this program, which has to do with business and as an immersion part, we felt it was important for you to try and understand parts of what makes business in Senegal and what has impacted the business world in this country and outside. When we talk about the Murid, we are not only talking about a community of religious followers, we are also talking about a community that is built around certain pillars, which include a strong work ethic and solidarity. And we felt it was important to come here and give you an exposure to this in order for you to better understand that how it works, but also have other sides of business practice around the world. When you see this, it is a model, a business model that actually has shown that it works in terms of how people take care of their communities, how people do not wait for public services to actually address issues they have faced. As a matter of fact, I am a member of a group that is trying to get water from the Lac de Guiar, which is a lake where the water supply is from there to Dakar, to not only bring water to Touba, but also to see how along the way people can use water for irrigation and for other purposes. Just to say that the Murid is a community that tries not only to focus on religion, but also to focus on development, and development not only for the community members, but for everyone. And I think for us, when we do business, we also have to take into consideration that it has to serve for the public good, for the wider community. And this is what we see in terms of the display of generosity that people show when you visit. When we have a term in Wolof that we call berndel, which means that you come, you eat. There's plenty of food and plenty of all the things offered to you, simply because that generosity is also one of the hallmarks of the community. And I thank you all for making this possible and for extending that generosity to us. One of the things is to have this room for free, not having to pay for it, for instance. Thank you, Serigne Seydou. Thank you, Serigne Malik.
Come and celebrate this Magal with us. So it's important to point out that the Magal is not only for Muslims, it's not only for the Murid community, it's not only for people who live in Senegal, but it is celebrated worldwide. History has shown that people used to celebrate the Magal of Touba where they live, not in Touba. Everybody stays in their home and celebrate the Magal of Touba. Later on, the second Caliph asked people to come in Touba and celebrate. So people used to celebrate it when Serigne Touba was still alive. They used to celebrate it in their respective cities. And later on, the second Caliph called for the celebration in Touba. And one of the recommendations was to give food to the people who come and celebrate. So we give food, we read the Quran, we perform the writing of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba Hasida, and we do zikr. And the Njayen and the Njoben, they look forward, every year they look forward to the Grand Magal Touba because they will have plenty of food. And this is one of the recommendations that Sheikh gave for people to focus on during the pilgrimage. So now I'm going to hand the floor to Mr. Jabai. He already did the presentation of the mosque, maybe a bit presented about the city, but his presentation right now is going to be about the library we call DAARAY KAMIL. I'm sure he's going to explain the meaning of the name DAARAY KAMIL and some key details you need to know about this place. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I'm talking to introduce you my friend Ousseynou Diatara, who is son of the curator of the library, Serigne Mustafa Diatara, known by all the Muslim community. See, this library was built in 1977 by Serigne Aboul Ahad Mbacké, who is the third caliph of the Muslim Brotherhood. I tell you, in the mosque, the caliphs are descendants of the founder. The first, after Ahmadou Bamba, in 1927, he led the community in 1927 to 1945, Serigne Mohamed Mustafa. The second, Serigne Fallou Mbacké, continues leading 1945 to 1968. 5 years before he passed away, that him who did the first prayer in the mosque, the inauguration in 1963, June 7. 5 years later, he passed away. We have seen his mausoleum in the mosque, the second caliph. The third caliph arrived in 1968. We say that him who cleaned the city, because you see, before that, you see, Touba was a specific city which at the time no police, no custom, a small village, I can say at the time, and 96, 40 years, 50 years before. And then people are coming here, most of them try to do business, like some of them, young boys start smoking, drink alcohol, smoking ganja and all. And when arrived the third caliph, he tried to clean the city, because Touba is a holy city. It's a holy city, and the founder Ahmadou Bamba said that Touba give him Allah, God the Lord, give him Touba only to worship God, no any distraction or something like that. That's why when the third caliph left, to clean the city is so difficult for him. Before he start prohibiting all which is prohibited by Islam before. Smoking, drink alcohol, drums, music and loudspeakers and all. And the administration at the time, no man, nothing here, only the caliph is the leader. And followers to respect that is very difficult. We have a control in the entrance of all the city. Policemen, when you arrive, they charge you. If you found you smoke or if you send alcohol, you can going to have a pay contribution or go to jail, about 3 months of jail. At the beginning, it's very difficult, but the hand people usually practice. But now we can say that all the people know that Touba is prohibited smoking and alcohol too. That's why the third caliph start also building infrastructures in the city. We call him the builder, because he did many infrastructures in the city. He started to renovate it, the mosque, to add the team who add the extension of the mosque where we just passed. He renovated the big market. He built a guest house behind the mosque called Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba's residence. He built start a new university. He make it larger, one cemetery, because behind just the library we have the old cemetery, because all the murid need to be buried here when they died. That's why at the end, he knows that he have a vision, know that in the future, the cemetery will be full. That's why he start in 4 kilometers from here to build another cemetery bigger than here. About many hectares, I don't know, but larger cemetery. Now people say that it's benefit because the last cemetery, the old cemetery is closed now. No burial there. We have only to go to the cemetery built by him, the third caliph. That's him also who built the library, I'll tell you, in 1977, because that's a man who want people get knowledge. Student, before our student to go to Arabic state to do their high secondary school and all. That's why he started to build the university and all. He said that our children have to memorize the Quran. Here in Touba, in the future, we can't do choice imam anyway. That's why in this library, you can find many books, many part collections. Okay, this library is divided in 4 parts. You can see 4 big rooms. Here we are in the reading room. Behind us, we have a second room where we have books written by Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba. A lot of them are poetries, because Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba used to make poetries, and his poetries in general is to teach the followers the way of Islam. Most of them, if you memorize, some people have to memorize it, but some of them teach you the best of Islam, some can give you good health, good love, something like that. Nobody can read all these poetries. It's incredible. You take the Holy Quran letter by letter. With each letter, you write a poetry of any verses. That's why in this first room we have books coming only through the Holy Quran, poetries through the Holy Quran. For example, he take one verse like I tell you, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. They get a poetry which you call Mukhaddimat Lamda. And he write a verse, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ وَشَفْتُ بِرَبِّ الْأَرْشِ الْجُودِ وَالْعَفْوِ مَعَ مُصْطَفَى وَاللَّهُ لِمُهْدٍ شَفِيعٍ. And all these verses, all these letters, each letter a poet, a verse, a poetry. It's one of people who did this kind of poetry at the time. That's why in this part we collect all poetries written by himself. In the third room we have general culture. We collect books from Egypt, another country, Arabic state, where our children going to learn. We bring these books to learn them that here in Toba. That's why we have the mathematics, geography, general culture. Like American literature is in this room, the third part, general culture. But all the books in general are in Arabic. That's why also he knows that we have to make a school where people can learn Arabic language. Because if you don't know Arabic language, you can't read these books. We try to translate some of them at French, but that will take time. That's why Tuba now we have many schools. We have also a university where they're teaching in Arabic language. In the other collection, we have also Holy Quran and writings by disciples and grandsons of Ahmadou Bamba. In this part behind me, that grandsons of Ahmadou Bamba written himself the Holy Quran. Because after memorize Holy Quran, you have to write all the book without looking the original one. They control with any mistake and a nice calligraphy, we collect their copy here. In Tuba, in the street, you can see children, 12 years old, they memorize all the Holy Quran. Because if you are intelligent, Tuba, I tell you, no any distraction, no nightclub, no football ground. You come in 2 years, 3 years, if you are intelligent, you can memorize Holy Quran. And if you memorize it, you show that you have to write all the book without looking the original one. We have thousands of copies of these children in that room. In the future, through them, we can choose the imam, the predicators, and all the future. We have also this reading room, you see, for everybody who come, who want to acquire knowledge, can stay here to write documentation about all Islam, in general about Islam, not only Mouridism. It's open for everybody. That's why we wish you welcome in this library. And have a good stay in Senegal. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Any question? If you have question, Mr. Jabai, can you?
Thanks so much for doing this. I'm Beverly Dankwa. I'm a JD student at the University of Pennsylvania's Carey Law School and also doing the Master's in International Studies at the Lauder Institute. And my question has to do with the fact that the schools in Tuba, you mentioned, are learning, the curriculum is specifically in Arabic. I'm wondering if there's any Wolof spoken or any other local languages, or if there's an emphasis on Arabic because it is in Tuba. And if there are any other cultural influences that are in there as opposed to just the Islamic influence.
All right.
Okay, Tuba. Like I tell you, Tuba is a great school, I can say. Tuba is a great school, I owe Tuba, I see, because I tell you, the founder said that Tuba, the gift by God, is only for which to worship God. No dictation, only nobody. Like Allah said that, how to say, how to say that in Arabic? We are here in this ground only to worship God, and it's too short. Our life is too short, and you have quickly to memorize, have good knowledge to try to acquire knowledge before. That's why it's a privilege for Ahmadou Bamba to teach the people how they have to practice Islam before. Because if you don't know how to practice Islam, you can have a good result.
Okay. Thank you very much for your answer. So I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Bui. He has something to add to the question about the curriculum, right?
Yeah. It is in the sake of the religion in training great scholars, because most of the books that Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba wrote are in Arabic. Nevertheless, the Wolof language is very present. There's also a lot of poetry written by some followers of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba. And you can see that we have a friend of mine who teaches at Boston University, or Boston College, who's teaching there about the Wolof poetry of one of the followers of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba called Serigne Musaka. And there are many others, Serigne Jahate, there is Serigne Morkare, and many other who wrote specifically in Wolof. And this is a very rich, literature. And I can say the students who go through the Tuba curriculum speak better Wolof than anyone else in the country. So, and this is very important. Also, I can say the traditional culture is also very present, because we don't confuse Islam and being Arab. That's two different things. You can learn the language, understand the language, but also live your own culture. That's how Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba trained his followers to be proud of who they are as Africans, but also to learn any other knowledge they could. You could go to the to French school to learn French, to learn English, to learn math, to learn all other knowledge, but also to be proud of their heritage, proud of their language, proud of everything they have, because we were trained in the colonial, how can I say, curriculum to be what the French called the policy of assimilation, meaning we assimilate you to be French, or we assimilate you to be English, or to be British. But Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba taught us to be proud. His main philosophy of resisting against the colonial power was a cultural resistance, not a resistance with weapons or having an army fighting, but training people to know who they are and be proud of that heritage. That part also is very important to underline. That is very, very at the core of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba's policy and also about philosophy.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Bui. Something I want to add is, of course, Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba wrote in Arabic, which gives to the Arabic language its important part in our curriculum. However, we let's say Murid and Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, we won the war of identity, because today you can see a Murid whenever at first sight you realize he's a Murid, even though he speaks another language. And we're doing all our best right now to make people understand more the story of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, to understand his writing, because Arabic language being a hindrance for someone who want to know more about the story of Muridia, who wants to understand the writing of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, because they are Arabic. So we're trying our best right now to translate most of his books in English. There is one book called Jazao Shakur, which talks about the exile of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, what he's been through, the trials during the time he was in exile. So that book is written in Arabic, but people should understand, should know the story of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba. People who don't speak Arabic, who don't understand a word in Arabic. And so myself and other people translated that book. It's going to be out this summer. I mean next week, next month, with the help of Mr. Njai, with the help of Mr. Pui and other people. We do all our best to translate those writing of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba in English and in other languages for foreigners and people like me who don't understand Arabic, to learn more about the story of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba and understand his writings. Okay, so I think that's all. Now, place to the. Oh, we have another question over there.
So thank you so much for having us today. My name is Roa. I'm from Sudan, and I have two questions. The first one is about the role of gender in the mosque. So obviously, like within the Islamic tradition as well as within the Sufi tradition, women play a very significant role. People like Rabia al-Adawiyya, Khadija, Aisha, who is arguably the greatest scholar in Islam. So in this mosque, where is the role of women, and how do you ensure that they have a role within, whether it's the educational aspect of it or the spiritual practices? So that's my first question. And then my second question is about the financing of the mosque. I'm curious to hear if the government or private sector helps in this, supporting the financing of the mosque, and how that intersects maybe with the informal economy here in Tuba. So, for example, the role of like traders or other maybe, you know, small-scale entrepreneurs around the mosque.
Can you remind your name, please?
Roa.
Roa.
Yeah.
Thank you for your great questions.
Yeah.
Mr. Pui, sure.
Gender is at the core of Mouridiyya, because when we talk about Mouridiyya, we always refer to Sokhna Jaara Buso, whose real name was Mariama, the mother of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba. So she's celebrated in hers. There is even a day dedicated to her where people go to her village and celebrate. And also there were a lot of those people, apart from Sokhna Jaara, the daughters of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba and the daughters of the sheikhs that he trained, they were all scholars and teachers. The one that I personally know was his youngest daughter, Sokhna Maimouna Mbacké. I will talk about her. She was a great scholar, great teacher, great entrepreneur. And if you look at Senegal, women have been active in the sector, in the economy, early on. Most of his daughters, the one that we refer more to is Sokhna Muslima, who was a great entrepreneur, you know, transforming a lot of agricultural products into trading and selling here in the country and even overseas. And that women in Senegal, they believe that those are their role models as far as knowledge, as far as entrepreneurship, as far as being part of the economy of this country, being part of the educational system. Even right now, there is a pretty good school. They were putting some ads recently about one of the students in that school called by Sokhna Maimouna Mbacké School, where one of them was the top students in one of the exams that have been organized recently. So now we see that not only they teach the Quran, but also they teach math and other subjects, which is something really very innovative. And if we look at them, many Hafiz have come from the schools. Even Sokhna Jaara Buso, the mother of Serigne Touba, in her home village, now it's a city, it's because it's grown a lot, there is a school where all the girls are named after her. So part of the admission is to be named after her. That's why we pride ourselves in, if we have a daughter, the first person we think of to name is the mother of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba. I think she has more people named after her than anyone in this country. Sokhna Jaaras are everywhere. And then in that school, now for the participation, we don't ask to the government to give anything. It's us, the member of the community, from here or in the diaspora, to participate. And in that, the importance of the Murid community in the Senegalese economy has been very, very powerful from the beginning. Even those who were the first billionaires that people know, like Njuga Kebe or Jilimbai, they were part of this community because they believe in entrepreneurship. They believed in going beyond just praying in the mosque and then having your rosary and, you know, chanting La ilaha illallah. But it's beyond that. Working to get to a certain point to have the self-sufficiency in your life. This frees you also from depending on others. And this goes along with the American philosophy of self-reliance. We've studied it when we were students. I remember we studied those when we were in, in college about American self-reliance. And this is very, very close to the philosophy of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba as far as work being very, very, very important. And in this community, women and men participate, I can say even equally, sometimes more than men. And if you walk through, let's say, some of the big cities, all the beautiful homes and villas are named after a woman. You will not see Villa Seydou Sy or Villa Mama, but you will see Villa Sokhna this, Villa Sokhna that, everywhere. So this shows you how much important is women for us. We kind of worship even our mothers because we believe that we can gain heaven through our mothers. So this is very, very important as far as the economy and also gender is concerned in Mouridism.
And this is what the Prophet has taught us. If you have 4, give 3 to your mother and the 1 to your father. Okay, so that means a lot. So I'm going to give the floor to Mr. Jabai for the second question, which was about the financing, right? Okay.
Okay, that's a good question because you see the most precious materials are here now. But only contribution of followers, no donation of Arabic Said or any government. When we started, that was hard time in 1927. This is a arrive and rise of 1929. Many people think only about Eid or something. It was very difficult for the first caliph to start the mosque. He followed the recommendation of Ahmadou Bamba to collect 28 francs per person. People are very hard for them to find 28 francs at that time. Who happened? You can sell your sheep, you can sell your camel or something like to have the 28 francs to contribute. That's why the first caliph collect money to build the floor of the mosque. He passed away in 1945. The second arrived, Saint Palu, took the followers to the fields, working the peanuts. We sell that, and the benefit come to the mosque. As the fields grow, as the city grow, as the fields grow. Now we have 45,000 hectares in 70 kilometers south of Tuba called Helcom. Every year, thousand of followers go there in a quick time, and the benefit come to the mosque. It's a kind also to improve economically the mosque. Now in the diaspora, we have many followers. United States, French, Belgium, everywhere they say they have a house, they call it Tuba. Tuba, New York, Tuba, Madrid, Tuba, Paris, and all. And followers, they make an association, and everybody can contribute like himself, like his possibility. At the end, in the year, a lot of money, they come bring that their contribution. You see, we have, last year only, we have a contribution of followers from China who bring umbrella in the mosque. If they see something also necessary, like chandeliers, I tell you, chandeliers from Turkey at all, if they see something necessary, they can bring that in the mosque. That's only contribution of followers, no donation of any government.
All right.
Understand?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jabai. Please now to the lecture by Mr. Olive.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I think I will not go in because we almost running out of time. So I want to go a little like, Yeah, mun nga dugal lépp. You can. Yeah, mun nga ko dugal benn pap muy dem daal. Yeah. So in Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba's philosophy says that work as hard as you can, as if you would not die, and pray as you were going to die tomorrow. So these are the two things that are very, very important. That's why the business and entrepreneurship are very important to us. So people think that if you are a Sufi and you should be retreated in the bush or in the forest away from people, but you can be among people, but your heart is not attached to the worldly things. But this is very important. And we believe that to be a good, a believer or a good follower of a certain faith, you have to be independent in your way, in being able to take care of yourself. So what is the important? If you can worship and then next day you will go and ask for help from somebody on your neighbor, for example. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can go forward. So I'm going to move. Yeah. So I just want to talk very, very briefly. I'm not going to go through all the slides. I just want to, pinpoint the most important thing as far as business and work and spirituality. Because work also is considered a kind of worship in Mouridiyya, because it fulfills you. You have the things that you need to lead, I can say, a great life, a life in this earth, because we are going through this earth to go back to the next. So you have to prepare. So if you don't have the means to prepare for that, and the means to prepare for that is to be self-sufficient in your approach and self-sufficient in your life everywhere, because power is important. Even we talk about that, for example, in the US, when you talk about having opportunity for a certain group of people, let's say, for example, black people, for instance, we need the power to be able to have a good influence in society, to have a good impact in society. And if you don't have that power, we are not able to make any changes or to make any difference. That's why Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba believed early on that we as a community, we should not depend on anything else other than ourselves. And then work hard to achieve that. And all the his followers were trained in learning, gaining knowledge, but also in gaining ways in which they can prosper in life. Even some of the people who went and did trade, they started with just, taking bottles and then selling them here and there, what they call bitikumbaga, meaning the shoulder shop. And then they'll start with an actual table. And after they have one store, and then added 3 more stores until you have a bunch of stores around them. And we have seen these people, those who invested and who became billionaire. Most of them came from these traditional, what you would call in other countries like madrasa or dara. They came from those schools. And they were when they came out of those schools, after memorizing the Quran, they went into the cities to sell here and buy and organize. And not even having a degree in business, they were able to structure their company and enterprise in a way that it prospered even internationally. They would go to Turkey, they would go to China, they would go to many other countries, Dubai. Until now, Senegalese people go to Dubai, Turkey to buy and bring trade and do trade with those countries, which is international. So this is very important because I want you to understand the importance of business as you are, college students trying to understand why is Mouridiyya prospering so well in the economy of Senegal. And the participation is very, very important. Many factories and companies and enterprises, you will always find, maybe the founder is a Mourid. Even right now, some of the greatest enterprises and most of the billionaires in Senegal are from the Mourid community. Even from the first one, even to now. Now we have a lot of like Serigne Aboul, and you have other Serigne Aboul comes from Koki, which is one of the greatest, Islamic or Quranic school, and they were able to prosper. I think this kind of mentality, I think, should be, or ways of doing, should be taught in our modern schools. So when we get out of those schools, we can, as those who come from the Dara, prosper and participate better in the development of our economy. And in that, as I was saying earlier, the role of women is very, very important. You see, Senegalese women, even within the neighborhood, they will meet, let's say, once a week and put, let's say, each one say, let's put $20. Okay? And then let's give, when we gather, for now it's 200 or 2,000, let's give it to Serigne. So he's going to start his own thing. And next week, let's put another 20, let's give it to that person. And then they start doing that and helping each other in a way to help them develop the economy. I think if we practice the teaching of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba as far as being independent and depending on ourselves, I think we could go very far. I remember when I was a student watching TV, there was a representative from South Korea who was saying that they were giving ambulances, as aid. And he said this is something he found a little bit paradoxical, because in 1960, when Senegal was independent, Senegal was a little ahead of Korea as far as the economy. And now Korea is giving aid to you. And I think, and he said he went to Tuba. I said, if you follow the teaching of this great man, it's very similar to the teachings of our own society that we applied. And if you apply this, if you applied this, we wouldn't be coming here and giving you, ambulances as aid. And this is very powerful. And I think we haven't even exploited, I can say, not even 1% of what Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba is teaching us, so we can be independent and we could prosper as a community. And I think this is a brief summary. If you have questions, we could interact a little bit. So before we run out of time. So I know you guys are tired and you've been traveling. I don't want to keep you here and talking all the time. So I want you to have questions, or if my other friends have contributions, it would be also great. Yeah.
We have till 15 minutes to go before.
Yeah, I was supposed to have a big slideshow in it, but I just want to make it short. If you have questions.
Go there. Go there. We have questions.
Yeah, I can go. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's interesting to learn about your community. So I guess going back to the education piece, I understand that there are certain schools giving education to young people. I wonder the composition. Is it like what % of the education goes to females as well? And secondly, a more broad question, in what ways the community elders stimulate economic activity in this region? Thank you.
All right. So it is for as far as your question, thinking about the curriculum and how the female, I think we are blessed that Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba put his mother to a very high, level of consideration. That's why we think as his followers that it is very important we give paramount, consideration and place to the female. And in the old system where it was just the European system, a lot of parents were reluctant to send their children or daughters mainly because they think that this system is coming to destroy their culture, to kind of make their women like European and make their women get lost, as they would say, because they were concerned about all the values that the European were bringing that were against our culture. But now, as many of the schools, they introduce the teaching of Islam and the Quranic schools and the teaching of our traditions. They think that, there's some new kind of ways of thinking that, I'm going to send my daughter here. She would be a great scholar. She would be a doctor, but she would be a good Muslim, or could be a good African. And this is important for when the parents send their kids there. As far as your second question about how the community participate in that, I think every Murid think that for them they are responsible to participate, how can I say it, strongly in the building of the community, and also in solidarity with other people, not even people from their community, but even people from their neighbors. And this is one of the main for me, the main strength, of our society, where when people say, okay, oh, you're in Africa, these women are not treated this way, that way. Women even have been present, I can say, even in politics, even before independence. Even when people were protesting for independence, those who were holding the porteurs de pancarte, many of them were women who were really invested in changing this country. So Senegal wouldn't be here without women, and without the support of the community, and without also the knowledge that they help. For example, and many of if I see people in my generation, our mothers, when people talk about feminism, they think, oh yeah, those who come and went to school and learned, and now they protesting against the society and things like that. But for me, the true one was those mothers of our generation who, most of them didn't even go to school, but they worked so hard that we went to school. They made sure we finished school. They made sure we were great citizens. My mother don't know how to read or write. My father don't know how to read or write. But they made sure that when I went to school, I take it seriously. So these are some of the aspects of our society that I'm really, really proud of. So
you have another question behind.
For the presentation, so you talked about participation in the economic environment around here. I was just wondering if there are any challenges that you see that are holding us back, because you talked about how Senegal obviously is now behind Korea receiving aid. So in the Tuba community specifically, what are the challenges that you think are holding us back from development?
I think the challenges are mainly some of the policies put in place by the government that makes it a little bit hard, and also the various what we call economic policies imposed to many African countries by the IMF and World Bank, saying, okay, you're going to sell your peanuts. I'm going to decide. You say, okay, you're going to sell this $1 a kilogram, even if it's worth $3 a kilogram. You take it or not. You want it, or this is what you're gonna do. And I think these kind of policies, if we have a government that breaks away from this kind of diktat from the IMF and World Bank, I think we could succeed in developing our countries. It doesn't make sense that we have all these resources that everyone wants. The Europeans want it, the Americans want it, the Chinese, they're here now, we want it. So why we are the richest continent and we are the poorest continent? And I think if we succeed in having good policies combined with all the entrepreneurship that we see among communities like the Murid community, I think we could go to higher grounds than where we are right now. And I think, as we have seen recently, we have hope that as you have a new government, and this new government was elected because people had hope that they will change things different from what we used to have. So if these policies change and the new government is able to apply all the promises that they said that they would do before being elected, I think we could get to new grounds. Even any other country in Africa, it doesn't Congo by itself. If there was a good policy of development in Congo, good government and good governance by itself could develop the entire continent, because they are so rich. Anything you imagine, any raw materials, Congo has them, whatever. And it's not any other countries in Africa where you go. Oil here, there is diamond here, there is anything everywhere. And then we are still poor. What we need good governance, that will lead us in a way that we will break away from the tutelage of the European and the Americans, and now we're seeing the Chinese. So I think that's, yeah.
Yeah, so Loic from Cameroon, kind of want to expand a bit on the political aspect of it. I would love for you to speak about the relationship between political involvement and the Murid brotherhood or the community. How does that happen? Does that happen more of like from the top down, or more on an individual scale, like everybody does what they want the community to do? Thank you.
So then the politicians, they understand that the Murid community has, a strong contribution to, for votes. So they try to, how can I say it, be in good relationship with those religious chiefs, because these religious chiefs are for us even more important than the president himself. And even when they need, some of them, when they were looking for power, they needed some support, they would go to them and ask for support. As early as the first president, who, Senghor, Senegal is 95% Muslim, and he was Christian, but he promised that he would do something for Serigne Fallou, who wanted to build this mosque, but also needed some, administrative papers for all of that to be able to continue the construction with architects and things like that. So Senghor said, I would be, when I'm elected, I would help in that. So this is also something very important from Serigne Fallou, supporting a Christian who was running against another Muslim. So that sees how important, the Senegalese society is, that it doesn't matter if the person is Christian or Muslim, if he's the right one for the country, so we should choose him, as we did for Senghor, who was president for 20 years, and left power willingly, and contrary to other countries, Cameroon. So I don't have to go into, deeper, details. And I think this is very important. Many in Senegal, how the religious practice is structured is kind of very singular to Senegal. That the religious chiefs, different like Sufi religious chiefs, are given more importance than the president himself. If the Khalif said, okay, I want everybody in Touba tomorrow, and then the president said, no, I want everybody in Dakar, Dakar will be empty. So this is how important that we have that, because we believe that in our spiritual practice now, obeying the Sheikh is very important, because he wants the best for us. That's what we believe. So, and when he asks for work for the community, we all go and work for him. And if you go to, he talked about Helcom, which is big field where agriculture have been developed, like 45,000 hectares, something like that. And that part is very, if we could, strengthen those with tractors and a lot of material for agriculture, this would be like a hub of economic growth and self-sufficiency as far as food, because we import a lot of rice. We have changed our habits as far as the cuisine or eating habits, and we're eating more and more imported things. And if we go back to growing things that we eat, I think it would be better for us, even as far as our health is concerned, because our body is not used to all these things that we bring into all these chemicals, all these extra food that we are putting in our body. that we are seeing even now more and more people with disease that we didn't know, like let's say 30, 45 years ago. And I think this also is very important. All right, another question?
Any
Is good?
other question?
Did I answer? Did I answer your question?
Any other question?
Yeah?
Before we...
All right. You have anything to add or?
Yeah, let them finish first.
Okay, you answer? Okay.
Do you have a question? Okay. Wait, so I was curious to know how you get youth involved in this community, especially because there's such high unemployment numbers in the country. So how do you ensure that youth are not only involved, but maybe help them with employment as well as maybe entrepreneurial training, since that's a very important aspect of this community?
So in our community, the main focus is also the young people, the youth, because the most important is the education of the youth. It's very important. So the education, we start with education and also help them gain skills that will get them to integrate better into society. But as we have seen, some of, as I told you, like the policies that we are thinking in a way which is not entrepreneurship that we see people who come from the DAARA, and we who come from the modern schools, or we have our master's degree, we just want to start at a high level position in in a company, and even sometimes which is odd is the CEOs of those companies are people who come from the a traditional DAARA school. I think you have seen examples everywhere in the society. So, but I think in this age right now, where more and more people who used to only teach the Quran are integrating a lot of different things, like math or science. And I think this is very important. Even if you see the early Muslims, science and math were very important. Even algebra comes from the early from the Ottoman, even before the Ottoman Empire, all the way to the Ottoman Empire, and in many fields, math and science were important in the Muslim community. And I think this is very important right now that we can see what we call the modern DAARA. So DAARA is the equivalent of madrasa, but modern, because they bring in new subjects such as science and English. Even English, you see some people who are in the DAARA now who can speak English. They already memorized the Quran. They are learning math. They're learning history and so forth. And Serigne Saliou, who's the founder of Khelcom himself, if you went and had a conversation with him, you say, wow, where did this man learn all of this knowledge? He can talk about geography. He can talk about history. He can talk about philosophy. Everything you imagine. Where you think, oh, he's just like a sheikh there who knows just the Quran and can recite it and so forth. But he was really learned in many aspects. And I believe all of us that as members of this community, knowledge is also very important, where we can help the youth grow in a way they could be part of the society. They could participate in developing this society. I think if anyone has any other, Serigne, if you want to add anything, you've been here for a while, you went abroad, you came, so you start things here, you've been helping a lot of youth. I think you also can say something about that.
Okay.
Yeah, the only thing that I want to add, as you guys said, is the centrality of education. And when we talk about education, we're talking about making sure that we give youth the chance to succeed in life. And it is for that actually, in addition to all the investments that have been done in Touba, we have the university. Because I think the university plays a big role, and it's one of the current Khalif's major projects to make sure that there is a university that aligns with the values of Muridia, but is also open to giving a chance and everything that people need to succeed in life as well. So, and I think when we talk about this community, we're talking about also about that balance that we need to find. That is to say, success that is ingrained in spirituality, in values, and that's what is really, really important. Because when we talk about the modern school system, there is a lot that is being said since the 1960s. People talk about Africanizing the curriculum and having a Senegalese and African university, because we say that the school in Senegal is everything but Senegalese. But with this educational system, it's recentering back and trying to see it's not just about religion, it's also about values. And when we talk about, obviously, those values are carried through religion. And what the Murid community brings into this debate is how to put personal values, communal values at the center of education. And I think that's what I see as one thing that the central government can learn from in its effort to also make people appropriate the curriculum. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other question? That you made it possible. Thank you very much for your availability and for the great presentation. Thank you again for reminding us that whatever Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba teaches is in accordance with Islam, is in accordance with the Sunnah, with the teaching of the Prophet, peace and blessings upon him. When he starts his presentation at the very beginning, he reminded us that it's important to work and to worship. As Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba put it, worship God as if you will die tomorrow, but work as if you will never die. Thank you very much for reminding us that, and reminding us again the importance of solidarity. The term brotherhood is crucial in Muridia. Solidarity. We help one another. We make sure that our Murid brother or our Murid sister can succeed through my help. When a Murid brother starts a business, it's like it's our business. So we make sure that we help him. So we make sure that he succeeds. And this is the importance of solidarity between Murid. And it can be seen everywhere in the world. Any country in the world, Murids are very organized, and they make sure that each one, succeeds. And someone asked a question about the importance of the youth, the role of the youth, their let's say level of consideration we have for the youth. We know that in a Murid brotherhood we have associations we call DAARAY, and they are present everywhere. You can find 10 daayras or more than 10 daayras in just one small community. And those daayras are structured in a way that each one has responsibility. And the most important responsibilities are given to the young boys and girls. And within daayra, they not only do they learn about their religion, not only do they learn about the Murid community, not only do they learn about the right of Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba, but they develop skills. They develop leadership skills. They develop communication skills, which are very important when they start their own business. And we prepare them at early age. And again, thank you for reminding us that in the past, people used to think that those who go to French school only can be businessmen, can wear nice jacket, can be in an office. But Mr. Serigne Aboul and other example, they demonstrated it. That it's not just because you go to a Quranic school that you can't start your own business, that you can't be a rich man, that you can't be a businessman, that you can't be an entrepreneur. Because the term entrepreneur was like 100% associated to those who go to French school. But right now, the Murid Brotherhood, they demonstrated that you can go to the Quranic school and not only learn about the Quran, but develop the skills that you will be needing in your life, when you embrace the professional life. And Cheikh Ahmadou Bamba himself, among his writings, we see that he praises the Prophet. In most of his writing, of course, he praises the Prophet. He even said it in one of his Hasidah, Fatul Fatah, when he said, I will not stop praising the Prophet as long as I have the strength to express myself. And that's why he got the title Khadim Rasul. But there are specific poems dedicated to young men. There is one dedicated to the one who is seeking knowledge. It's a short poem of about 8 verses, where he gives guidance to the one seeking knowledge, which means he gives a very important consideration to young people, young boys and girls, very important consideration to the people who are seeking knowledge. Okay, and this is present in many of his poems.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. So I will connect with Mr. Njai. So there is a friend of mine who teaches at right now UC Santa Barbara, who's a historian who have wrote a lot about the Murid community, because he came here and studied, and he's a history teacher. I think his publications are very, very good. So if you could have access to those, that would be great. As university students, I think learning and knowledge is important, and he is a great resource who's been working. He speaks well fluently. He speaks pretty good French, and he's a history teacher at UC Santa Barbara. So I will connect with Serigne and give him some of the material that you would need for that as you are researching about the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
واجعله دأبا مسكن التعلم وموضع الفكرة والتفهم ومسكن الإرشاد والتعليم ومسكن التصوير